work 9 to 5, pay tax, still can't live.
But they say we've never had it better.
Welcome to the British dream.
Hard work doesn't pay off anymore. You can work 50+ hour weeks and still not make enough to live alone and eat properly. It's depressing.
The majority of working class people in the UK are tired. We are sick and we are tired. We are tired of being broke.
Once upon a time in the UK, earning 50k meant you'd made it.
Work full time just to pay bills, see the family a few hours before going to sleep, to do it all again for 2 days off, 2 weeks off a year for a holiday. Oh my God, this is the life of so many people out there right now.
You wake up at 6, you work until 6, and somehow you still can't afford the basics. That's not laziness, that's a broken system. They said just get a job. And now you're working full-time and still skipping meals, watching rent rise and checking your bank account like it's a horror movie. This is what it's like to be working class in Britain today. This is what they don't want to talk about.
Few days after salary and I'm broke. How am I working full-time and stay broke full-time? It makes sense.
50% of your income going to have it even more for the paying the apartments. One room costs 1,200. People can do when the income they have like maybe 2,000. What's to do? It's crazy. There's people upset. People don't want to live like that. This is not country for people who really try to work hard. If you work hard, they destroy you by the tax. This is good for lazy people. It's like stagnation. You want to buy apartment, you buy the house in London, it's impossible. Bank give you only 5 times more than you have income for annum. That is not enough to pay to even rent the studio here. The crime is going higher, everything is going higher. Not a solution.
Bro, no one talks about the frustration of having a full-time job in your 30s, pay all your bills and still be broke. Like, you still gotta go to the grocery store and do calculations because shit around you is getting expensive by the minute. And you have to survive off the little pay that your job gives you. Meanwhile, these jobs don't really care about you, even if you were to disappear tomorrow. They won't even send you flowers.
Back in the 80s and 90s, 50k was a rare salary, earned by senior professionals, lawyers, accountants, engineers, or directors. These were jobs that came with prestige, and the salary reflected it. A take-home pay back then was around $3,000 a month after tax. A mortgage on an average home cost just $250 to $300 a month, leaving plenty for savings, holidays, and family expenses. Now let's look at what 50k means in 2025. Today, jobs like middle management, experienced nurses, teachers, or software developers might pay 50k. The difference: these roles that used to pay far less now require far more qualifications, experience, and workload to hit that salary. What's even worse, after tax, your take-home pay in 2025 is roughly $3,200 a month. Doesn't sound too bad, right? But here's where things get sticky. In the 90s, housing costs were only about 10% of your take-home pay. Today, rent or a mortgage can easily eat up 40 to 50%. Add in childcare, transport, and energy bills, and suddenly 50k doesn't feel much different from earning 30k. And it's not just about costs, it's about effort. Today, many people earning 50k are juggling high-pressured jobs, long hours, and constant stress, often needing degrees and certifications just to get started. Meanwhile, the buying power of that salary has shrunk dramatically. Back then, 50k was a sign of security, progress, and even privilege. Now it's barely enough to keep up with the living costs, especially if you're renting or trying to buy a home in the...
We are genuinely at the point now where people my age, I'm 24, aren't interested in work anymore. And it's not in a lazy, oh, I don't want to work anymore way. It's more like, what is the point of dedicating so much of my time for a job that isn't going to give me the same back? Because our pays are shit. We've got no benefits. We can't buy houses. We can't go on holidays that we want. And if we do go on holidays, like once every 2 years. Even rent's expensive because all the older generation own all the houses. Commuting to work is expensive.
Do you know what I'm tired of? Working so hard paying all of my bills and my food and my petrol and having literally nothing else to show for my life. Like, it is the most frustrating thing, I think. And I think a lot of people are just frustrated in the same way, because it's like, I've never been in a situation where I have been as experienced and qualified and, you know, able to get a top level job, but then getting a top level job and then still being on the cusp. Like, how does that even make sense? Do you get what I mean? Like, and the majority of people, millennials especially, are working their asses off, bro. And do you know what it is? I can't stand it when your older fucking generation will turn around and go, yeah, well, in my day, da-da-da-da. Bro, in your day, you could get a house for £5,000. Shut up. What are you even talking about, babe? Your house cost literally £5,000, £20,000 max, 30 grand max. And now it's worth 500 grand. And I have to try and find 35% to put down and buy that house. And you're telling me I'm lazy, or I'm moaning, or I'm this, or I'm ungrateful, or I'm that, when I say, actually, babe, I might actually leave this country because this ain't it. I feel like the majority of people just want a normal standard of living. They don't want to be luxurious. They don't want luxuries. They literally just want to be able to go to a restaurant, pick what they want in that restaurant, say Harvester, or say, I don't know, let's say just a regular restaurant, not top notch, and be able to sit with their family once a month and have a nice meal, and know that they don't have to worry about what they're ordering and how much it is, and know that they don't have to really save up, or their child's birthday's coming up and they know they have to put aside £50 a week or a month or whatever in order to afford their child's birthday, or open their fridge to no food even though they're working their backside off day in, day out as a nurse or a carer. Like,
oh, it's low. Wow, look at that.
A lot of people in the UK right now, I'd say probably 95% of the people right now are literally working just to survive. You're not working to kind of enjoy your money. You're not working to do the things that you actually want to do. You're working to either put food on the plate, for your family, or you're working to pay bills. And it's a sad reality, and it's something that can change.
Be rummaging through, basically trying to get their best deal. Now,
is it just me that actually works a full-time job, work 12-hour shifts, every single shift, day and night, and I'm still broke? I still can't afford to put my heating on. I still can't afford to do a weekly shop. I just do bit by bit here, some there. Too good to go out. That's really helping, actually. That's really been helping. Thank you for too good to go app. You're feeding me right now. Yeah, just you know, you go to work, you suffer with people, you know, like being treated like shit. For what? To just pay bills, because that's all I can do. Because once I pay all my bills, ain't nothing left for Teresa. No, Teresa gets fuck all. It's just the government teething out me money right now. Yeah. What's the point? Is it just me that when I'm walking around my area and stuff, I look for places where I could live if I was homeless? Like, oh, I could do under that bridge. That bridge looks all right. Oh, I could do over there. Is that just me? I'm start looking for cardboard boxes.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really struggling with my job right now. Hey, it's 11. Pays the bills, right? But it doesn't. What are you talking about? It doesn't pay my bills. I can barely make ends meet, and I work over 40 hours a week. Oh, then just get a second job. I do. I have a second job. Still can't pay all my bills. Maybe you need to work harder. Work more. Did you not hear me? I told you I already work 40 hours a week or more. I should be able to pay my bills with that. Okay, then maybe you just need to find a new job. It doesn't seem to be working out for you. I don't think it should matter what job I'm doing. I should be able to pay my bills. Have you ever thought that maybe you're living above your means? I haven't been to the dentist in 5 years.
How have we convinced everyone in this country that literally, like, when you are working 40 hours a week, especially if you're working like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, that's your whole day. You are giving up 5 days of your week, and you get 2 of them to survive, okay? And yeah, sure, and within this capitalistic system, of course, Emrys, how else are we gonna pay our bills? Okay, did you know people used to not pay bills? Did you know that it's like people used to not pay rent for this earth? Because if you really think about it, right, who are we paying rent to? Who owns the earth? Who owns the land? And why do they own the land?
Right, excuse the beard, but let me answer this quickly. I'm in very good need of a haircut. I'm currently on my way to the barber's, but this is what I mean by living in the UK, man. Like, look how depressing it is. 50+ hour weeks and still not enough to make and eat. And she lives alone as well, to eat and to kind of live for 50+ hours a week. Like, that's mad. And you guys wonder why so many people are leaving the UK and kind of want to escape this kind of so-called rat race and just live a better quality of life, man, because 50+ hour weeks, it's not even like you can go to the beach, or like, even if you live by the beach, it's going to be cold and wet and miserable. Like, the quality of life's just not the one.
What price increase has truly made you realise we're in a cost of living crisis?
I was in Apple Green the other day and a jam ban was $2.60. $2.60. That's not right.
Isn't it crazy that we work full time on the fact that we can't even afford to buy our own place? Like, I work 40 hours a week and I pay taxes, you know, I do the right thing. I've been to uni, worked really hard. I'm in a job that, you know, that's well respected, but it just seems to be like no matter how much you like try and, you know, work yourself up the ladder, or how much you try to save, it doesn't seem to be enough. Like, the average deposit is around, I believe it's around 20 grand, and then that's like almost my uni salary. Like, how on earth am I supposed to raise that amount of money?
Labour's building new homes, and for many people that would be welcome. But we're in Birmingham today, where there are about 24,000 homeless people. And despite that, there are also 9,000 empty private sector homes. So what's really going on? You see, about half of England is owned by just 25,000 landowners, the 1%. We're talking about oligarchs, bankers, private corporations too. So despite the fact that there are so many homeless people and there are so many unoccupied homes, people still can't get access. If we build more, but the ownership structure is still the same, then how do we fix the real problem that affects people?
I think we as people and we as a society, we're too compliant and complacent about what's happening right now. With inflation, with the rental market, housing crisis, rising gas prices, you know, rising everything, insurance, especially how it's affecting younger people. I think we're just way too relaxed about what's going on. Everyone is saying if you're young, leave the UK, move to Thailand, do this, do that. There's a creator that I'm going to tag. Go watch her videos. Her content is really good and relatable for young people living in the UK, pertaining to people that are getting their degrees, PhDs, whatever, and being, you know, becoming a grown-ass adult, moving to London, getting a London salary and still being forced to house share. Not even a choice, but you're being forced to house share because you can't even afford to get your own place. And as someone that's from the West Midlands, just know that they're trying to do this in all the major cities where there's just not enough space. They're trying to make it so everyone is house sharing, everyone's living in a HMO. And these landlords that are owning these HMOs just know they're greedy because they see people that obviously come from a low socioeconomic background, people that are desperate, and they will just cramp them all in houses. And I really do feel like it's giving Hunger Games. I feel like the divide of wealth between the ultra rich and regular normal people, even middle class people, they're really starting to feel it. They are the ones even struggling the most. At least we've known to be frugal and, like, you know, live that sort of lifestyle. It's hitting middle class people the worst because they're the ones that's got their mortgage, the expensive cars, and now they're drowning in debt. They're losing their jobs, you know, all these tech companies letting them go. But anyways, I digress. It's giving Hunger Games because I know that they're gonna cramp all the poor people in, like, we're all going to be in slums and ghettos, and the ultra wealthy are going to be like in mansions and yachts and all these things, watching us eating rats to survive. And I don't even think that's an exaggeration. Everything is just going to go up and up and up until they come in with a solution, which is going to be like the Great Reset, and they're going to just flip in. We're not going to be in control of anything. All of our finances done out, everything. We're going to have to rely on them, literally like Hunger Games. Like,
how bad does it have to get? Like, how bad do things have to escalate before we decide to have a revolution? Because this is not something I believe that's going to get bad. That's why everyone's trying to leave the UK, but I kind of feel bad for them places that we're going to, like, for example, Thailand, Vietnam, these places that are known for being cheap. But they're no longer going to be cheap because we have privileged Westerners gentrifying those places and making it expensive for the locals. So it's like we're taking one problem and bringing it to these places, we're bringing it to the East. And not to say that we're not allowed to move, you know, I'm personally someone that wants to leave the UK as soon as possible, but it's like, it's kind of a peak situation worldwide, and it kind of makes you think this is late stage capitalism at the end of the day. Like, this is just all this is the effects of late stage capitalism, and everything is going to go up and up and up and get so bad to the point it's going to need a great reset. But when is it going to take the people to realize, like, we shouldn't necessarily have to pay for things that ensure our survival? Because, like, what the hell? What's going to happen when, you know, Tesco's is fully stocked, but people are literally starving outside because we can't afford food? Are we going to have a revolt and be like, okay, we're going to raid Tesco's? Or, like, is it going to turn into the purge? Like, what is going to happen? Because deep it, people are already cutting out so many luxuries and privileges out their lives. And, you know, we're all feeling the inflation, but I feel like no one's really talking about it. We're still shopping, we're still going out to eat and stuff, but we don't actually deep like how bad it's getting. Like, regardless, I think it's going to get to a point no one's going to be able to do nothing, no one's going to be able to have fun, everyone's just going to be depressed.
Every shift that you turn up to work, you turn up to your job, what is it exactly that makes you turn up to your job? What is that one thing that actually has you waking up and showing up? And I'm not referring to the jobs that people are showing up to that they absolutely love, the jobs that people are well compensated for, which is, of course, we know, a very small percentage of people anyway. I'm talking about the masses, the majority of us that are turning up to jobs that are asking a lot of us with poor compensation, jobs that leave us with a poor work-life balance, jobs that do not appreciate their employees, jobs that offer minimal incentives, the jobs that are shortchanging you. What is it that really has you turning up to each shift?
The thing that I did just want to address is that sometimes I get comments that say, oh, don't you work or don't you have a job? Like, suggesting that because I'm on a really tight budget, that must mean that I'm not working. And that really isn't the case at all. And I think that it's just really important to have that conversation, because I know people I have friends who have children, and my friends, they're both of them working parents, full-time working parents, and really struggling to make ends meet because of the cost of living. Like, all of our bills have gone up, the water bills have gone up massively, council tax is huge, energy bills massive, but then even like the food shop, right? Like, the yogurt that I used to buy in Lidl 3 months ago, it cost £1.25. Now it's £1.69 for the same thing. And all of the food prices have gone up. It's not just that. Like, I remember when I used to be able to buy an aubergine for 69p, and now they're like 99p. Like, everything. And you're thinking, oh, what is 30p? You know? Well, if it's 30p on 10 items, that's £3. Like, that's like £9 on your food shop more. And where's that coming from? You're not getting paid more, that's for sure. I'm not going to go off and be a finance bro, you know? It's not my vibe. But it does mean that I'm annoyed that Lidl put the price of yogurt up. But all jokes aside, the cost of living is massive, and people can work full-time, people can work incredibly hard in incredibly meaningful careers and find it difficult to survive.
I thought I'd come in here to have a bit of a rant. I feel like crap today, so crap, because the UK is just so bloody expensive. Like, is anyone else noticing how expensive the UK is getting? Food is constantly expensive. We pay our taxes and they're constant. Like, I'm self-employed and I've just been on the phone to the tax office, and sometimes I feel like, what's the point in even working these days to just get by? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I just feel like electricity, water, gas, luckily we're just electric, but still that's really expensive. Council tax. This country is too expensive.
I'm currently staying at my mum's house for the next, well, I've been staying for the last few days, for the next few days as well. And it really upsets me that I've lived here my whole life. I'm 32, on and off. Obviously, I've moved abroad and I've moved to South London or whatever. But it really upsets me that I won't ever be able to afford to live where I'm from. I can never get a council flat, even if I wanted to, even if I tried. And like, I have to like learn a whole new area every single time I move. Like, I'm just currently walking around my area, and it's just like, it's really sad that like I'm walking past where I went sixth form and I won't be able to like have my kids here and, you know, raise a family here and tell my kids, oh, I went to school there, or my kids go to the same school as I did. That's not going to happen. It's actually really sad.
450,000 more 25 to 34-year-olds are living with their parents in the last 2 decades. More and more young adults are having to live with their parents because they can't afford to rent or buy a place in the UK. And this isn't just confined to London. More and more big cities in the UK are becoming more and more expensive for young people as well. And a lot of times this can be seen as a benefit because it allows young people to save whilst they're living at home so they can build up their cash reserves and buy a property or rent a property. But I see this number getting bigger and bigger as the cost of living and the cost of housing soars through the roof. It's not uncommon nowadays to hear people in their late 30s or even 40s living at home because of the cost of living. But in this young population, what it does is it has a detrimental effect on the creation of families. 20 years ago, people were buying properties in their 20s, they were having kids in their 20s, they were getting married in their 20s. What a lot of people don't talk about is that living at home changes your life dynamics. A lot of people living at home can't bring a child into that home environment. And it's easier to meet someone when you have your own place. So what that does is it pushes back the marriage age, it pushes back the age at which people are having kids. And I know not everyone wants to have children, but the dynamic of the UK and the cities and the towns is changing due to this phenomenon. I personally think it's only going to get worse as the cost of living increases and more people are priced out of buying a property or renting a property. And unless rent caps are brought in, then it's going to become dystopia.
I just don't want to do this anymore. It's so cold in here, as you can see. I'm wrapped up in a duvet. My son's got like 3 different layers on just to try and stay warm because it's so cold in here.
Watching that woman's video broke my heart this morning. She said she had to choose between gas and electric. And she ended up choosing electric because she needed to cook for her children to eat. And that the gas, she couldn't afford it. So she was literally freezing and shaking in that video, as you can see. And people are going through a lot in the UK right now. It's not even a joke. It is not a joke. Especially when you live in these old houses that were built ages ago. The insulation is bad. I remember when I moved to the UK, I lived in such a house. So renting a proper house was difficult. And Ariella was one, and my son, I was pregnant with my son then. I would hold Ariella shivering like this in front of the heater. The heater is on, but we are still shivering. It's not, the cold was too much. It's not like these houses where we live now, like where I live now. These are one of the newer homes that have been built, well insulated. I use only electric in my house. And when I put on my electric heater, 1 hour, it can last me even the whole night. I don't sleep with heating. My kids sleep with heating. The other day, I loaded £100 on my electric meter. And I had cooked that night. I did washing. And then I left my children's heater till morning. By morning, the money had dropped to £60. I was like, £40 in a day. How are people managing?
A new report warns that Gen Z staff aged 21 to 30 are becoming a ticking time bomb for staff retention. Stress levels in this group have jumped from 38% in 2013 to 52% in 2023, and dissatisfaction with pay has more than doubled. Experts say poor working conditions and low wages are pushing young staff away, putting the future of NHS at risk. I'm looking a little bit rough, just finished a 12-hour shift, but I've been seeing a lot of these articles and I thought this is quite interesting to talk about and to hear your thoughts. So literally saying that it's putting the future of the NHS at risk, but there's so many things that can prevent this from happening, like this workforce crisis, better pay, financial support. Our pay should reflect the cost of living crisis, offer students loans, bursaries, better work-life balance, better shifts. Like, I'm seeing crazy shifts, days, nights, better work-life balance, more mental health and well-being support, like make that more accessible for nurses or, you know, anybody in the NHS. Career development and progression, like clear pathways or mentorship programs to, if people do have that desire to like climb the ladder, so to say. Yeah, like better training and funding for these different specializations, improve workplace culture, so address toxic workplace behaviors and bullying. You know, I've not really experienced it that much, but I know that it is going around, and like ensuring that, you know, management do actually listen to staff, their concerns, and act on it. I do feel like it's quite simple. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like if these changes aren't made, like young people are going to continue to leave for Australia, New Zealand, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, like, because right now there are better opportunities abroad and or in private healthcare sectors.